Hello everybody and welcome to the VBA Poke Center Update week number 9. We're 1 week away. Only 1 week remains of the regular season. And I am here joined today by Leaf. He's not in a talkative mood today. So I'm just gonna kind of go through it, you know. Unfortunately, some bad news. We are not going to be having Rhett's segment of the playoffs. Playoff picture pretty much already in full effect. Also, no Spice of the Week this week. And unfortunately, no screens either. I had thought I made them earlier in the week. Went to go import them into OBS and... I guess I didn't make them. And the unfortunate fact about that is that the stats will not be updated next week either because of the fact that, yeah, people already played their week 10 by the time I was like, okay, I could just do week 10s. But unfortunately, that didn't happen either. So the stats are going to be a little weird. I'm going to try something different, a little bit different next week. This week, we're just going to go through the games, just kind of get through it. And next week, we're going to have awards. We're going to give away MVP. We're going to do a bunch of stuff. So look forward to next week's episode. And yeah, so anyways, without further ado, let's get right into it. There was 4 games not recorded, or if they were recorded, they were not uploaded. We have the Weasels versus the Kids, in which the Kids were able to win 2-1 in that one. With the Kids getting their 2nd win, I believe, of the season. So there you go. Good for them. The Kinglers versus the Rebellion. Rebellion win this one 2-0, getting back on track after a couple of weeks of dropping out there. Berserkers versus Steel Types. Berserkers picked this one up. Steel Types dropping a game. It's you know, it's been a few weeks for the Steel Types, kind of dropping games. I know they've been very busy, so makes sense. We get the Sableyes versus the Wheezing, in which the Sableyes take it 2-0. So congratulations to all those winners. And right into the games that we're able to watch here. We got first the Binnacles versus the Guzzlords. Of course, the Guzzlords coming off of that first win of the season last week. So interesting to see what they can do here. We see Armaldo, Pelipper, Lucario, and Cinderace for the Binnacles versus Sneasel, Golisopod, Gigalith, and Excadrill. We see pretty early on that this Pelipper is able to take out the Golisopod as it comes in, and it goes for a Hurricane and instantly destroys it. But then the Cinderace is able to come in and get a couple of kills as well, and Excadrill actually ends up killing itself to the Life Orb, giving a 3-0. to the Binnacles in the first game. Game 2, we see Cinderace, Persian, Pelipper, Lucario, changing it up a bit, versus Sneasel, Mr. Rhyme, Golisopod, and Gigalith. So we're not seeing the Excadrill, we're seeing more of the Trick Room setup. And it worked a little bit, but just not enough, as we see Cinderace actually pick up the kill with the low kick. We saw it in the first game. Low kick was able to kill Gigalith, so he gets it off pretty early on here. Gets that one. Sneasel kills Persian first to begin that game. And then it kind of just goes downhill as Golisopod goes for Cinderace, kills that. Pelipper kills Golisopod, and Lucario is left to just pick up Mr. Rhyme and Sneasel. And we see a 2-0 going straight to the Binnacles, so they're picking that up, securing their playoff spot, I'm pretty sure. So congratulations to the Binnacles. We'll see how they do coming to that. Our next game is we have the Smokers versus the Minchinos. Now this was, MVP of that game was Cinderace. It did really well, so there you go. Smokers versus Minchinos. We got Sableye, Primarina, Corviknight, and Volcarona for the Smokers versus Grimmsnarl, Crobat, Ninetales, Alola, and Metagross. We see Corviknight picking up the Grimmsnarl after coming in and setting up a bit against the Grimmsnarl and the Crobat before he could actually like react to it. And then we see the Ninetales come in, killed the Sableye, and then we see that was to Hail actually, so Sableye died to Hail. We see the Primarina come in, actually get picked up by the Crobats, or picking up the Crobat, and then the Primarina also dying to that Hail. So the Ninetales kind of getting 2 kills there without actually having to do anything, before the Metagross picks up both Volcarona and Corviknight, giving a 2-0 over to the Minchinos in Game 1 going into Game 2. Nidoking, Primarina, Sableye, Corviknight. So switching up a little bit, getting rid of that Volcarona for the Nidoking. And we see Crobat, Alolan, Ninetales, Metagross, and Swampert. So bringing that Swampert in for that Grimmsnarl. And it went much different in this one as Sableye picks up, actually dies to the Ninetales. Primarina picks up the Metagross, then dies to the Crobat again. But it wasn't enough as Corviknight is able to set up again, kills the Ninetales, and the Swampert goes down to the Nidoking. 2-0 to the Smokers in Game 2. As going into Game 3, we see Sableye, Volcarona, Primarina, Corviknight. So going back to that first setup, but just changing it a little bit. And we see Metagross, Crobat, Grimmsnarl, and Ninetales, which is the same as the first setup. Once again, just switching it. So both going back to the well a little bit here. We see the Volcarona go for the overheat right on the Metagross, taking it out, absolutely annihilating that thing. Primarina picks up the Ninetales, which was the biggest threat in this whole matchup for the Smokers, or for the Minchinos against the Smokers. So that's a good pickup right there. We see the Sableye kill the Grimmsnarl later on, but not before the Ninetales actually picks up the Primarina with its third hail kill of this matchup. 3 hail kills, that's passive kills, that's always going to be good. We see the Crobat get picked up by the Volcarona, and the Sableye finishes out that Grimmsnarl. As I said, 2-0 victory. Smokers take this one 2-1. But we did see a double freeze in game, I believe it was in Game 3, on Primarina and Corviknight, and the Corviknight did not defrost before dying, but the Primarina did on the, I believe, the first turn. So that double freeze could have mattered. It could have mattered. It was a little sketch. Next game, we have the Grimmsnarls versus the Drapions. In the first game, we see Cinderace, Reuniclus, Hitmonchan, and Bisharp versus Lucario, Dragapult, Torracat, and Nidoqueen. And Cinderace kind of just ran it. We see Reuniclus get Lucario and Nidoking, but then Cinderace picks up the Dragapult and Torracat, but dies to its Life Orb right at the end, giving a 3-0 to the Grimmsnarls in Game 1. MVP of the last game was Corviknight, by the way, because it was such a threat, and it was bulky and taking hits and just dealing damage back. So, I forgot to mention that. So, Game 2, we see Noivern, Azumarill, Cinderace, and Bisharp. So, completely changing it up for the Grimmsnarls versus Lucario, Dragapult, Obstagoon, and Nidoqueen. So, changing it up as well, feeling both teams kind of feeling like the first team could be improved. But we see Azumarill pick up Dragapult pretty early on, and then picked up immediately by Lucario, because Lucario got buffed up by this Dragapult via that beat up and that justified. So he's gonna be a very, very strong. And yeah, he picks up the Azumarill, and then Obstagoon kills the Noivern. But then we see the Cinderace actually pick up the Lucario. So Lucario didn't do as much damage as you would think it would, but it was able to stick in there and just chip away and put these Pokemon at low HPs. But, oh, did I mess up here? Because then we see Cinderace go down to Nidoqueen, and then we see Bisharp as well go down to Obstagoon, giving a 2-0 to the Dragapult. I wrote it wrong here. So Dragapult take Game 2. And Game 3, we see Reuniclus, Hitmonchan, Bisharp, Azumarill. So going back to what worked in the first game almost, except adding that Azumarill instead of that Cinderace. And we see the Dragapult, Lucario, Obstagoon, and Nidoqueen. So going for the same setup as in the previous game, though it did not work the exact same here, because we see Reuniclus pick up the Dragapult, then we see Hitmonchan go down to the Nidoqueen, but then Azumarill picks up Nidoqueen, Lucario dies to Obstagoon, and then, wait, no. It kills the Obstagoon, sorry. It kills the Obstagoon, taking a 3K and a 3-0 victory in that one. MVP Reuniclus for being able to set up that Trick Room, for being able to take those hits and kind of dominate in Game 1. So Reuniclus, MVP of that one. Next game, we have the Bashers and Flareons. We have Comfey, Rillaboom, Kangaskhan, and Clawitzer versus Rotom, Heat, Scrafty, Dracovish, and Whimsicott. And this one, first game was complete domination. We see Comfy go for the Calm Mind, pick up the Whimsicott, pick up the Scrafty. Kangaskhan picks up the Dracovish and the Rotom, and just giving a clean 4-0 to the Bashers, with this Comfy still sitting with no deaths. But things do change. As we see the next game, we see the Aerodactyl go down to the Rotom pretty early. Clawitzer go down to the Rotom. We see Comfy come in and takes out the Whimsicott, but goes down to Dracovish. The first death for this Comfy. Rest in peace, Comfy. You tried your best, my dude, but sometimes it's not your time. So a clean victory for the Flareons in that one. And going into game 3, we see Kangaskhan, Aerodactyl, Comfy, Rillaboom, and on the other side we see Whimsicott, Scrafty, Dracovish, Rotom. We kind of see in the Flareons kind of like these Pokemon here. We do see the Scrafty get picked up pretty early by the Rillaboom. Of course, with that Grassy Glide, it's going to be very strong. We see the Comfy come in and actually go down to the Dracovish again. 2 deaths for Comfy in this one with 2 kills. Still got a great KD. I mean, the thing has only died twice going into the last week of the season. We see Kangaskhan pick up a Rotom later on, but not before Rillaboom picks up Whimsicott and puts them in a position to actually win. And the Bashers pick this one up 2-1 against the Flareons in a very, very good game. Yeah, go watch that one. That one was pretty good. Our next game was we have the Stunfisks versus the Greninjas. And we see the Stunfisks with Minshao, Talonflame, Drapion, and Claydol against Indeedee Male, Starmie, Scrafty, Flygon. Of course, Starmie being the mid-season MVP. Has it carried on since then? Not really. But we see Claydol go down the Scrafty. This was a kind of a switching game positioning. Both players were trying to get into a very good position. So we see the Claydol come in and it goes down to the Scrafty. But we see Talonflame kill Indeedee. Then it kills Starmie. But the Starmie is able to get a burn on Drapion. And that burn actually mattered as it did kill the Drapion a few turns later. Giving a kill to that Starmie despite the death. And then we see the Minshao kill Flygon and Scrafty, giving a 1-0 to the Stunfisks. Going into game 2, we see Minshao, Talonflame, Drapion, and Claydol. So the exact same lineup versus the Slurpuff, Indeedee Male, Flygon, and Starmie. We see the Flygon come in early, but the Claydol, Weakness Policy Claydol, by the way, is able to kill the Flygon. Starmie goes down to Drapion, and we see the Indeedee Male and the Slurpuff coming. The Slurpuff is out the whole game. As the last two, Slurpuff takes out the Claydol, takes out the Talonflame, then goes down to the Minshao, leaving Indeedee against the world. We have it take out Minshao, but it can't really do anything to this Drapion, and Drapion is able to take it out, and a 1-0. Both of these games 1-0. Very, very close games. Could have gone either way, but 2-0 to the Stunfisks. Congratulations to them. They have turned it around. They lost that first game. The first game that they lost, I should say. After that, they started slipping, but they were able to catch themselves and bring themselves back. So congratulations to them. Keep working. All right, we got in the MVP of that one was Minshao, because it did insane and didn't really. There was nobody else who did better, in my opinion. So we got the Spoinks versus the Dragons in the next one, and in the first game we see Salamence, Gallade, Lunatone, Alolan Ninetales versus Hitmontop, a Dottler, Hippowdon, and Glaceon. And we're gonna see pretty early on the Gallade kill the Hitmontop. And then we see Lunatone kill Dottler. The thing does so much damage to the Dottler. But before that, we see the Hippowdon kill the Gallade. Then it kills the Lunatone, but it is unable to kill anything else and actually dies to its own life orb. Ninetales picks up the Glaceon. Salamence didn't have to do anything. Is a 2-0 going to the Spoinks in game 1. Game 2, we see Salamence, Gallade, Lunatone, Ninetales, so going with the exact same lineup versus Hitmontop, Dragapult, Glaceon, and Hippowdon, so changing out that Dottler for that Dragapult. and it seemed like it was a good pick, but we see the Gallade pick up the Hitmontop right out the get-go once again, but then completely gets destroyed by this Dragapult before the Ninetales dies to the Glaceon. Lunatone kills the Glaceon. Hippowdon kills the Lunatone. Then we have Dragapult versus the Salamence, and we see the Dragapult kill the Salamence, giving a 2-0 over to the Dragons in Game 2, forcing a Game 3 here. We see Salamence, Gallade, Alolan Ninetales, and the Arctozolt, so bringing that Arctozolt over that Lunatone in the third game, and we see Hitmontop, Dragapult, Hippowdon, and who knows, because we didn't get to see the last Pokemon. We see Hitmontop kill Salamence with that triple axle. I swear this man has hit every triple axle that he's clicked this season. We see Ninetales go down, or kill the Hitmontop, but go down to the Dragapult. We see the Gallade go down to the Dragapult. We see the Arctozolt go down to the Dragapult, and Hippowdon goes down to the Gallade, but we don't get to see the switch in. So a 2-0 for the Dragons, picking this one up. Dragapult being the MVP, and this is, I think, the first game, I could be wrong, the first game where Dragapult has been the MVP for either of the two teams that currently have Dragapult. So a Pokemon that I thought would be number one has not shown to be number one, but it is what it is. Our next game is we have the Tyrantars versus the Arcanine. So this is a highly anticipated game, the top of the Kanto division right here. Exciting stuff. We see Noivern, Barnacle, Gardevoir, and Aegislash versus Liepard, Crobat, Abomasnow, and Arctovish. So Arcanine's been favoring this Arctovish set for a while here, kind of putting their coins in that basket, or whatever you want to say. But will it work this time? And that is a no, as we see Barnacle pretty early on get a double kill in a switch-in Abomasnow and a Liepard with a choice banded Rock Slide. We see that the Noivern is able to take out the Arctovish, but the Arctovish does take out the Aegislash. And yeah, and we see the Crobats. Who did the Crobat die to? I don't even know, because I did not write it. I don't know why I didn't write it, but the Crobat dies at some point, and the Tyrantars get this one 2-0. Excuse me. Going into Game 2, we see Volcarona, Barnacle, Aegislash, and Noivern versus Liepard, Abomasnow, Crobat, and Arctovish. So changing it up, going with the Abomasnow pretty early. We see the Fake Out onto the Barnacle, and we see the big old grass move into that Barnacle, which is not even going to survive a leaf slap. So no way he's surviving. He goes down. But this Volcarona was ready for everything. This Volcarona killed the Liepard, killed the Crobats, killed the Abomasnow, and then it died to the Arctozolt, but it also killed the Arctozolt. so it did both. It was something. It was something. I forgot how exactly it happened, but it was something happened. And that gives a 2-0 victory to the Tyrantars there. So congratulations to them. The top of the Kanto division going into Week 10 belongs solely to the Tyrantars. And I just want to say they're my pick on the draft, that they were going to win the whole thing. Just saying. Just putting it out there. All right, and our final game is probably the best game. I would say if you're going to watch one game this week, go watch this game. This game was incredible. We have the Tricos versus the Delmise. And we're going to see Carbink, Wigglytuff, Absol, and Garchomp versus Kingler, Talonflame, Hydreigon, and Marowak. We see the Talonflame pick up the kill on the Carbink that went pretty low from this Kingler to the Sturdy, I believe, and then Talonflame was able to pick it up. But the Kingler goes down to Absol, then Hydreigon goes down to Absol, and then Talonflame is able to pick up Absol, but then Wigglytuff cleans up both Marowak and the Talonflame to give the 2-0 over to the Tricos. In Game 2, we see Toxicroak, Garchomp, Absol, and Charizard against Hydreigon, Hitmonlee, Kingler, and Marowak. We see the Hydreigon actually kill this Garchomp, as the Garchomp I believe targeted the Hitmonlee. It was a few days ago I watched these, so I apologize if I do get any of these wrong. We see the Charizard kill the Kingler, which you don't see a lot, is that fire killing that water Pokemon. But then we see Toxicroak kill Hitmonlee, so a big lead in game 2 go to the Tricos. But the game is not over, because we end up seeing the Marowak kill the Charizard. Marowak kills the Toxicroak, and Hydreigon cleans up at the end the Absol, giving a 2-0 comeback, I would even call it, in this one, to the Dhelmise. Very, very good game here. Very well played end game by the Dhelmise there. In game 3, we see the Wigglytuff come back, Charizard, Absol, and Garchomp. So going for almost the same kind of thing that they went in game 1, except the Carbink for the Charizard. And we see Hydreigon, Hitmonlee, Kingler, and Marowak on the Dhelmise side. We see Charizard go down to, or kill the Hitmonlee before going down to the Kingler, so already changing it up from the last time. But the Garchomp comes in, kills the Kingler, he kills the Marowak. Marowak, before he died, killed the Absol, and Wigglytuff actually kills the Hydreigon, or dies to the Hydreigon, and Garchomp picks up the Hydreigon, getting the 3 kill to end the game. I gave the MVP to Wigglytuff because, you know what, Wigglytuff kind of brought it. He was pretty bulky. He just did chip damage, able to allow these Pokemon to get kills. So that was a 1-0 victory over to the Tricos in game 3. 2-1 in the set. Tricos, the top of Johto, going into week number 10. So that is it for this week, guys. Sorry that these last few weeks have been kind of scuffed. We got to kind of come up with a better plan, see what's working and what's not working going into season number 4. So if you guys have any ideas, or you guys like certain things, don't like certain things, leave it in the comments. Anything is welcome. Just don't be rude about it. But we want to get a little bit more of your guys' feedback, so we can kind of see what you guys want to see, so we can make the content you want to watch. So just let us know in the comments, and thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys have a great day, and we'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.